got the notepad out today, Dre.
Love that.
We are absolutely not twerking just because we were 1 minute late. I got a full page of notes here from today's practice.
Great. I've got my note app is full of notes. It's a
Hell
great
yeah.
time.
Let's go.
I've learned new names.
DNVR Buffs primetime.
Let's go.
We're getting berated with accusations.
Do we want to throw a presented by that?
We're presented by Illegal Pete's. Y'all
There
know
we go.
Illegal Pete's is the spot. Don't have to ask people if they go to
Yeah.
Illegal Pete's. You just ask them what they order at Illegal Pete's, and you'll get a straight answer. We're being berated by production, calling us divas.
Divas, yeah. How dare they?
That's true.
How
It's
dare
just
they?
Allie. Allie is
Just
calling
Allie.
us divas.
Our dear old friend. And OG of BSN Buffs then.
It's true.
Yeah.
One time on air BSN Buffs talent.
Famously my favorite of the BSN Buffs voices. But yeah, we're not here to talk about that.
We are not here to talk about that. We have a lot to talk about today. And we got to start with the news of the day. We walked out there, and I got to give a shout out to my guy Darius because he knew everyone would be all over this the second that they noticed it. So the second that we walked into practice, he said, hey, J5 got his number. Boom. We saw it. We got it out. And congratulations to him. Now, there's been some debate on our post-practice takeaways. Because I said, you thought maybe Shedeur gets it first or Travis gets it first, but no, it's Jimmy who gets it first. People are like, well, Coach Prime did already say 2's off limits, which I agree. We all know Shedeur's getting number 2, but I find it notable that Jimmy actually gets his printed on the jersey first.
I do too. I think, and I thought Nick Williams' comments on that were telling. I actually think we might play that clip a little later, but he was saying like he's earned it. He's done everything right. You see it in the well-off videos. I mean, you see it in practice too, like Jimmy's the guy who's getting those extra plays, those extra little wrinkle plays, those sweeps. He's also the guy who, when they're running the physical drills, like just stands out because no one takes him off. He's doing everything right. He's doing everything they ask of him. He's a tone setter. And just seems like a guy who the entire team is behind. You know?
Absolutely.
Dylan Edwards had some really good stuff to say about him too.
For sure. And I think Coach Prime knows how to motivate these guys.
Yeah.
And also he knows how to reward them. And so one of the rewards that I've noticed over the last couple of days is sending the players who he believes, showed out at practice out to talk to the media. And yesterday it was the kickers because no kicker missed a kick in the entire practice. Coach Prime wanted those guys to get recognition for it. Yeah. He sends them out there, and gives them a chance to get their name out there and get in front of the cameras. Today it was Dylan Edwards, but obviously the utmost payoff right now you can get for doing the right things is getting your number. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a continuous rollout with this. Like I don't think it's going to be like J5 gets his first, and then tomorrow we go out there and everyone's got a number. Like it's going to continue to be gradual, a slow drip. And I think, again, Shedeur, Travis, those guys could get their number at any time. But I think the guys who maybe aren't as heralded are going to get that type of recognition first. And Jimmy obviously has become, I would say, a star of this team so far. Like, when you're talking about him, it's Shedeur, Travis, Jimmy. It's
big
kind
Jimmy
of the way
Horn guy, huh?
I think that's just kind of the way that people are viewing it.
Too bad you didn't get him in the My Guys draft, huh?
I deserved him in the My Guys draft. It was a merely issue of formatting the My Guys draft, and I was robbed of Jimmy Horn.
I don't know. Facts say otherwise, but it sounds like you're a big Jimmy Horn guy. That's
he is a honorary part of my team.
Yeah.
So congrats to him. Who you got next? Who's next?
As far as standouts?
No, who's going to get their number next?
I kind of got the feeling after today's practice and then that we actually got to speak with him at the presser.
This is recency bias.
Sure, it's recency bias, but I got the feeling maybe Dylan Edwards may be coming up next.
Wow. That would be an upset, I think.
Yeah.
And sick. Because he's a freshman.
Awesome. It would be awesome. I mean, both like very fresh faces, very new to campus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone's kind of fresh faces and new to campus for the most part. But I'm going to go a guy who I think remember, you don't wear, well, at least at Jackson, you don't wear a C on your chest. You wear an L on your chest for leader, not captains, leaders. I think this guy's going to eventually have an L on his jersey if that's the way they decide to do it here as well. And I think he's going to be the next guy to get his number. What's funny is I don't know what number he's going to wear because he said he wanted 0 and Coach Prime says no zeros. So it's Shane Cokes. Nick Williams talked about him as a guy who's setting the standard, a guy who's being a leader on his defensive line. He's the only guy, I believe, that Nick Williams called out by name when asked who is setting the standard in your group.
Yeah.
So I think that kid, we heard from him one of the first days that they came out from practice. He obviously has the Ivy League background. He is an absolute grinder. He tore up the Ivy League, and I think he's next.
You're just doing the my guys draft all over again.
I mean, Jordan
chance at
Dominic.
redemption. Yeah, exactly. God, we need those numbers though. First practice I've had for under Coach Prime, and I'm making judgment calls based on how long someone's name. Like, we need numbers, please.
It's really tough, man.
It is hard.
Shout out to Nikki Edwards. I got to give a shout out to Nikki Edwards.
Elite.
You guys have seen her on this show before. She is the absolute queen of identifying players on the field. Like, I try my best. I'm squinting. I'm trying to see the back of the number. You're trying to see what's on the thing.
Yep.
And eventually I'm just like, I should just give up and ask Nikki. I'm like, Nikki, who was that? She always knows. Highly impressive. So she deserves her flowers on that one.
Amazing shout out. You know what'd be interesting is if my call of Dylan Edwards is correct, at camps he wore number 5. I believe in high school he wore number 2.
Okay, well, neither of those are
both of those are off the right. So where would he go?
Man, I mean,
Single
he's
digits
a
again?
1. He's a 1.
He is a 1. That'd be an outstanding 1.
Now, Coach Prime, I believe, said he is going to choose who's number 1. Now, I mean, I assume you have to want it, but Dylan Edwards screams number 1. I felt like Jimmy Horn should be number 1, but he's attached to 5. J5 is a sick nickname.
J5, man. All in.
Travis is obviously a number 1
And
guy.
it has to be single digit, Dylan. We agree on that.
If he's next in line.
Yeah, because those are going to go
They're
quick.
going to go real quick.
I mean, you're already short 2. 2 and 5 are called for.
Yep. 12 is off limits. Obviously, that's not a single digit. But unless 1 goes to Travis, but again, he was 12. It said that, I think he might have said at some point, like, it's 21 reversed. So he likes that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Dylan is tailor-made for number 1, and it doesn't feel like there's that much competition from the best players on the team wanting number 1.
There you go. That'd be perfect. Some sick number 1s have come through Boulder.
I mean, obviously Eric Bieniemy,
Yeah.
but Ben Kelly. Do you remember that name?
Uh-uh.
Oh my God, we gotta get some Ben Kelly highlights. Ben Kelly was a returner who was absolutely electric. I think he got drafted like in the mid rounds to the Miami
year
Dolphins.
What are we talking about?
Huh?
What years are we talking about?
Let's see. I was in first, second, or third grade. Just because I can remember what school I was at when we were talking about where he got drafted. So it would have been, that's like 98, 99.
I'm just like, my mind's the same way. I can like reference any part of my life based on some like sports combo I've had. I love that about you.
Oh, yeah.
Or
I
like
mean,
sports thing that happened. It's like, oh no, I threw my jersey into the chimney.
Yeah.
That's the World Cup 98. I was in 5th grade.
Yeah, Allie and I recall the entire beginning of our relationship based off of what Buffs game was that week.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're like seeing each other on the weekends,
yeah.
and we're like, oh, that was the ASU game, and we did that. So, yeah, that's how I recall pretty much my entire life is via sports memories.
Beautiful.
Okay, so J5's got his number.
Yes, Ryan.
You've got Dylan next. I've got Shane Cokes next.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Obviously, Shedeur and Travis could be at any moment.
You got a scoop?
I do have a scoop. So, this has been a funny thing that's been floating around in Buff Nation, and I need you guys to spread the word on this because I had a feeling it was unnecessary fear, and I confirmed it today. So in one of the Reach the People videos from our guy Darius, he talked to Luke, who is one of the top guys in equipment.
Yeah.
And Luke was going through the helmets and just like very passively skimmed over and didn't make a big deal out of it at all. But he was like, oh, we're done with the gold ones, talking about helmets, and then moved on. And there have been some like very like concentrated meltdowns over this of like, wait, is Coach Prime taking away gold helmets from the Buffs, which goes against everything that we know about Coach Prime.
Yeah.
And so I asked, I said, are they getting rid of the, are you getting rid of the gold helmets? The answer is no. The gold helmets are not going anywhere. He was talking about a specific
Man of
version
the people right here.
of the gold helmets that they aren't going to use. There's going to be plenty of gold helmets, as Bryce and I theorized yesterday. There will probably be chrome gold helmets coming along pretty soon here. So everyone, spread the word. Everyone, calm down. The gold helmets aren't going anywhere. That being said, there might only be 3 of the current helmets in the mix.
Wow.
So there you go. A little scoop and tease.
Lots will be changed.
Lots will be changed. Please spread the word on that.
Yeah. Let it be known. Gold helmets forever going to be here.
All right. Before we get into Eric in the comments says, thank God. I know I was paranoid, but it's great to hear from you guys. Yes, that's a fact. You can confirm it. Gold helmet's not going anywhere.
Straight from Luke's mouth. True reporting right here.
There you go. Okay. Before we get into just the hardcore notes from practice, let's talk a little bit about the pressers. And I want to start here. What was your biggest takeaway from talking to Dylan Edwards and Coach Nick Williams?
I think from Nick Williams in particular, I was just most impressed by how much respect he has for the staff, how much he's learning. And it's kind of some of the stuff we've been talking about, like what an opportunity this is. He talked about the Coach Prime effect, and like how it's like you can just see it on the players and stuff, and you can see it in practice as well, where like everyone looks to him to signal touchdowns and stuff like that. And you can just hear it from Coach Williams and how like every morning that man is waking up and grinding, being the best he can be because he is being pushed. He is looking up to and sees, Coach Prime, Coach Kelly, all these great coaches. Coach Ducey was the other one he highlighted. Dancy. That's what I took. Like you see it in these videos, but like, man, you can feel it. You can hear it. It permeates through that building. Yeah. It's not manufactured. That is very real.
It's really special, man. I could talk to Nick Williams all day. He has an interesting voice, and I say this because when you hear him on the field and he's yelling at the players, he can really get loud. When he's just talking, he's really quiet. So people in our video were like, I can't hear. I'm like, I know he was talking really quietly, but I love just
soft-spoken.
The way that he's so you can feel the passion in every word that he says. And we'll play the clip from him here in just a second because I thought he had such an awesome answer to my question.
Yeah, that's what really stood out to me was his answer to your question.
Let's actually go to that right now, Alyssa. That's Coach Nick Williams. Yep, talking real quick before you toss to it. He had talked multiple times. I have to prove myself every day. I have to prove myself every day. I have to earn it every day. And so I asked him, do you feel like you are proving that you belong? Do you feel like you are proving that you belong?
No, I don't. I got to do more. I won't ever feel like I belong. I don't take anything for granted where I came from. I come from humble beginnings, South Georgia. So, no, I got to do more. I got to get on the level of Coach Sal Sincere. I got to get on the level of Coach Kelly or Coach Vincent Danson. You guys should have heard him talk after practice. He's another guy that I was around, Coach Danson. He was a head coach before. He's elite. I really love Coach Dancy. I lean on him. And it's been fun. I got to prove to Coach Dancy where I belong, you know?
That's a special mindset.
It 100% is. And I can relate to it a little bit in our walk of life, you know, and that's just like such a great place to be at.
Oh, yeah. And that's how you make it. And it's why I say over and over, every single opportunity I get, he's going to be a head coach one day. Because if you bring that mindset every single day to whatever you do, you will succeed.
100%.
You will. And
it's really impressive.
Honestly, like one of the most dangerous things in the world is complacency.
Yeah.
And complacency can put you in a bad spot quickly. I mean, this is a little bit different, but I think some of the struggles you're seeing with the Nuggets right now are because they got complacent because it was coming so easy to them, and they had a 7.5 game lead on the 1 seed with like 16 games left, and they just kind of said, all right, we're good. Hopefully they can snap out of that, but it's just one of many things I think, and I think we really fight it in the college game with coaches trying to make sure that these players don't get complacent. And I think it's just one of the more dangerous things in life is complacency. So the fact that he just avoids that at all costs and essentially said, I will never feel like I don't, like I've earned my spot. I always have to make sure that I'm pushing harder and harder to earn my spot. My biggest takeaway of the press conference, Dre, is that these people, if they're going to show up to Buffs practice, need to come correct.
Oh, wow.
Number one, who the fuck is Coach Sanders?
Biggest takeaway on it, huh?
Don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Number two.
That's an important note, guys. Like we gotta remember this, okay? Who the F is Coach Sanders? We might want to put that in some booklets for you. Okay, let's get this right. Come correct is very correct on that one. Yeah.
Speaking of, the homie Neely in the comments, what is up? The pregame show.
Our guy.
That's one click away. Just click that. Go subscribe if you haven't already.
Yep.
Incredible stuff coming out. He's been doing like a series of just like behind the scenes with every coach, and God, it's good stuff. It's
so good. I mean, we just highlighted how cool this staff is. And so, I mean, to be able to get those profiles in is so cool, man.
So anyways, come correct with the questions. There was another one that, another person asked him about, asked Dylan Edwards, what did Coach Prime sell you on? And it's like, how many times does Coach Prime have to say he doesn't sell anything? And I love that Dylan Edwards threw it right back at him and said, Coach Prime doesn't sell anything. Like, that shows you that players listen when Coach Prime speaks, because he basically recited exactly what Coach Prime would have said to that answer if he said, what do you sell these kids on? How many times? I'm pretty sure that question was asked maybe by the same person. How are you selling kids on coming to Colorado? And the signing day press conference, he said, I don't sell anything. He doesn't sell anything. We gotta
correct.
Come correct.
Come correct, please.
Watch some well-off videos. Do a little background. We can't just show up with a camera and a microphone. Someone's going to end up putting themselves in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Not like they're just gonna get clowned.
Also, we need to open it up. Like it's way more big time. It'd been a minute since I was in that facility. It'd been 2-3 pro days ago, and
yep. And we talked a little bit about Jace Feely yesterday because people asked. He called him Deion, which I almost feel like I'm saying like a bad word if I say that. He called him Deion yesterday in a press conference. And a lot of people were saying like, "Hey, you got to get your respect right with Coach Prime," and I defended him in the sense of I just think he's known him for so long that's probably how he originally grew up knowing him. But some people in the comments made some really good points. Number one that I loved was you would never hear an Alabama kicker saying, "Oh yeah, Nick had us trying out field goals from 45 yards." So great point. And then another person said, it's kind of a cultural thing, like especially where Coach Prime comes from in the South. And even the East, I think, is pretty big on Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, or unless they have another title like coach or uncle or auntie. So it's interesting. And I think people are right. I put it out as a poll just because I was curious, because when I grew up, I'm telling you, 100% of my friends' parents insisted that we called them by their first name. So I'm not used to that. And I thought that was like a Colorado thing or maybe even a western half of the United States thing.
Yeah.
I think it might be like pretty uniquely positioned to Boulder. It's just like such a laid back town that everyone is like, don't call me that. Like, you know, for those of you who haven't been here or been to Boulder, like you could go to like so like every year I go to like the Humane Society Gala, which I don't even think they use the word gala because that's like too fancy for Boulder, but it is a gala. There are people there who wear like Crocs.
Yeah.
Now, every year I also go, Allie's mom is the CEO of a nonprofit in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And I go to that gala. That is black tie.
Yep.
I don't think there's such thing as a black tie event in Boulder. So it's just an interesting kind of shift. But I think, you know, thinking back on it, I do think it would be proper and smart for Jace Feely to start calling him Coach Prime.
Come correct. Get it right.
Exactly. Everyone's got to come correct.
Got to come correct. Every single one of them. Including maybe the university itself. Let's expand it a little for the media, you know? Yeah.
Any more takeaways from Dylan Edwards?
Good kid, man. Good kid. Good head on his shoulders. Like just here's my biggest takeaway. You think more of this CU team from like player 1 to player 95 are more media savvy than most football teams you've been around?
100%.
Yeah. Because I've been at pro days. It really stands out at Senior Bowls when it's like this guy's about to be a top 100 pick in the NFL and clearly hasn't had to do much media because he's, I don't know, the starting right guard or like a linebacker at a like, you know, 500 pro UTSA maybe. And it's like he's not media savvy. These kids at CU have more media savvy than your run of them. And it's, you know, Travis has his own videos. Zico's already like they're on camera with guys like Bucky and Darius around them, you know.
And
they're getting that exposure.
Coach Prime literally brings in people to train them from a media standpoint. And you know, he has people like Neely in the building to talk to these guys and teach them the ways. And it goes a really long way. I've always said I wish I could tell even NFL players, just pretend to like the media for 2 minutes a week and it'll take you so far.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, you wonder if that's the kind of player that's maybe more interested in Coach Prime. Maybe that's the kind of player that Coach Prime's instinctively more interested in, you know? Because like even Jace Feely, those quotes are great, you know? Like you hear him talk, like, yeah, it's like this guy... You know, so it's just like the more I get to know the team, it's like, oh, man, they kind of stand out in this way.
They know what they're doing, certainly. And the big thing for me, as Dylan Edwards is up there, or anyone else, I just keep coming back to Coach Prime's thing. Smart, tough, fast, disciplined with character. And it's like, man, it really stands out when you get to talk to one of these guys. And you get to see them in the same day practicing. So good stuff. Actually, let's toss my biggest takeaway from Dylan. We have one more clip from the presser. Loved his answer here. What NFL players do you look up to or maybe model your game after a bit?
I like a few guys. I like Deebo Samuel. I love Tank Dell. At the running back position, I love Saquon. Although he's a bigger guy, he knows how to fit well in gaps and stuff like that. And has great vision. So I just try to look at guys like that and try to replicate my game after.
You mentioned a couple wide receivers there. When Coach Prime was talking about you on signing day, you mentioned that you might get out and play a little bit of wide receiver. Is that something that you want to do?
Oh, yeah, we've been working on some stuff, and I got to get down the running back plays before I can go to the receiver position right now. So I'm just trying to get dialed in and locked in with the plays right now so you guys can see me at another position as well.
Who do you look up to? Who do you model your game after? The first one he says is Deebo. And it was something we've talked about on this show going back to even before signing day about how we feel like he could fit really well in that slot role when you're just trying to get the ball out quickly and get it into the hands of guys in space who are dangerous. We said, man, maybe Dylan Edwards can line up in the slot on one side. You can have Jimmy on the other side. Whatever side wants to play off coverage, you've got a bubble. Anyone wants to press up, you go over the top.
Yeah.
And then Coach Prime said it on signing day. He said, you know, he's a really special talent. He might even play a little wide receiver for us. And then he comes out Debo Samuel, Tank Dell. Tank Dell is getting a lot of love right now for his route running ability.
Yeah, I mean he's quick as a cat. Like he's insane. His 1-on-1s at the Senior Bowl were stupid. Out of Houston, and I mean some real good returning chops too.
Yes,
and
so
then Saquon.
And Saquon, which are all obviously Tank's not big.
No.
But you have Debo, who is big, and Saquon, who is very big. But I still love that that's kind of who he's looking to. And Debo is just maybe the utmost just straight playmaker. Like, you can't really call him anything but just a playmaker. And I think that's a great person for Dylan to be looking at in terms of
I love it.
Wanting to go make plays.
Those comps are perfect.
Yeah, that was a fun answer. And it's something that's kind of come up now a couple times because Jimmy Horn had an interesting answer to his, and it wasn't just straight wide receivers. He brought up Devin Hester. He brought up a couple running backs too. And so there's like an interesting thing going on here where these guys have a very wide range of people they're looking up to.
It's Coach Prime. He played, he could play either side. He could return, and he played multiple sports.
Yeah.
And he's recruiting all these athletes who's like, oh, this is a DN who plays tight end. Like, what? I've never heard of these kind of guys. He's already recruited like 5 that you guys have. And then, all the other athletes and Travis. Like, it's Belichickian, this versatility preaching.
People mentioning in the comments that Dylan has bulked up since being on campus. That was the number one reason he said when he was asked, why did you get to campus, or why was it important for you to get to campus early? He said to gain weight. Yeah. And he certainly looks like he's bulked up a little bit. You see it in his chest and his arms. He is such an exciting player.
Yep. We'll get into that.
Yes, we're going to talk again all about what we saw from practice today. We kept you guys waiting long enough. But first, a shout out to Pins and Aces, the official golf apparel brand of DNVR. They have some really cool stuff, head covers, ball markers. Obviously, they're killing it in the polo game and kind of that more flashy polo game that has become so popular in the golf industry right now. And they've got some really cool collabs. I've heard they've got some even cooler collabs in the books or on the books right now that they're going to be coming. So check out our friends over at Pins and Aces. Use the code DNVR when you go over to Pins and Aces to get in on some sweet, sweet deals.
Beautiful.
Shout out Pins and Aces. And then also Fubo TV. I love Fubo TV.
DNVR.
Man. I love it. Been using it all season, even before we partnered with them. So when I heard we were partnering with them, I was hyped.
Big Fubo guy over here.
Nuggets weren't great to watch last night, but
bad in fact.
But usually are pretty great to watch.
Yep,
The Avs,
they're awesome.
Messed around a little bit last night, still got the dub, and locked in their playoff position, and I believe took over first place. Is that correct?
They are in first. If you look at the standings, they are at the very top of the Central. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. So if you want to watch those two teams who are as good combined as they've ever been, ever.
By a healthy margin.
Yes. Sadly, billionaire greed has stopped many people in Colorado from being able to watch that. But Fubo TV is hooking you up. So go to FuboTV.com/DNVR. Sign up there so you don't have to miss out on watching these two teams that are in the best condition they've ever been.
Well said, Ryan.
All right, Dre.
Okay.
It's time.
Okay.
It is time to dive in to what we learned today. I'm going to let you start. You have a lot. I have a lot. We'll just kind of go back.
Where to start, sir? You want to go offense? You want to go defense? You want to go unheralded? You want to go heralded? I can go. You want to go with my unit who stood out to me the most? I got answers every which way, Rhino.
All right. I'm just now realizing we have multiple segments remaining.
Thank God my heart out is no longer a heart out.
Yeah,
you would have been paying the $1 per minute for me picking up my kiddo late.
Oh, is that a thing?
It's a thing. These people, they don't want to be left doing their job after they should be
I should
done.
start charging people $1 per minute for making me wait for stuff.
I think you'd be correct to do that.
So let's split this up. You want to go offense or defense first?
Let's go offense.
Okay. What stood out?
Running backs, Hankerson looked really good early. A lot of RB1 reps,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't expect necessarily, but 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. Shedeur's out there. It's
Anthony
Hankerson right there by his side, making some like hard runs, and then he broke a big one.
Yep.
Where I think it's actually going to be a house call until Cam Silman Craig comes in and tackles
Andre
him
is
from behind.
famously bad with names, so you're just gonna have to.
I'm
bear with
like,
him.
it's.
He's been covering the draft for I don't know a decade now, and
I've
he has
gone name
about
blind.
30,000
I've
names in his
juggled
head.
too many stupid draft names that it really gets me. So he really stood out, and maybe just as much was Dylan Edwards, who ran really well out the backfield, looked explosive, broke off 2 big ones. One was more of a 1 or 2 cuts and then boom. And another one was this like winding like east to west run that still went for like 40.
So this is maybe my biggest takeaway of the day is the last time we were out there at practice, Dylan Edwards took the ball and shot to the edge every time he got it. And it works sometimes,
Yep.
but you know, when you're playing at a high level, it's different than high school. There's going to be guys who are going to be able to cut you off, and they're going to know, especially when you're on the field, you're looking to bounce it. So I said on that show, the second Dylan Edwards starts learning to get inside and then get outside, watch the hell out.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he did today on his 2 big runs.
Well, and he looks bulked up, right? Like the chat's saying. So, like, that's already translated vision. I think, like, you know, he's getting caught up to the speed of it.
Yeah. So the one that you were talking about, he gets the ball, he goes through the left side of the line, goes around a linebacker out the left, and then bends all the way back around, like, inside a safety, and then outside the other. It was crazy. But
Vision and creativity, though,
exactly,
out the gazoo. Yeah.
Exactly. And he does have that, I think, idea in his head that I'm going to score a touchdown every time I touch the ball. And you certainly saw it because he's just willing to try whatever it is to get around people and use that speed as such a weapon. But I love seeing these guys develop, and that was the coaching staff challenged him, I think, probably, to start his runs inside and then bounce out, especially on designed inside runs. And he clearly took that, and I think he probably is seeing how that can pay off for him because, you know, if you get inside first and then you get outside, you've got a lot fewer people to beat.
Yeah, no, he stood out. And then even earlier watching the running backs warm up, they all looked pretty good. But, I mean, Hankerson, Edwards, and, you know, Pornstash really stood out.
Yes, porn star. Yes.
Stash feels more appropriate, though.
It does.
That's what I put in my note. I just put porn stash.
We don't make the nicknames. Coach Prime does.
Yep, that's right.
While we're on running backs, we'll just finish the thought on them. So Hank looked great. Ran really hard, man. He's a hard runner. That's kind of what his thing is. Like, you know, people maybe don't call him a power back, but if you go back and watch the tape from last year, like, he was running guys over. He was breaking tackles. That's kind of what he does.
Yep.
And then Charlie Offerdahl finishes the day. We talked about it in our quick takeaways. But he was out there actually with the 3s. He did get a little work with the 1s after Hank had an unfortunate mishap on the exchange with Shedeur. You never know whose fault that is. But because he got immediately
by Upshaw.
Yes,
on
scoop and
that
score
one,
Taylor
we should
Upshaw.
mention.
But he got taken out of the game immediately, which makes me think someone thought it was his fault. Charlie went in next, but Charlie was running with the 3s. Last play of practice, 3rd and goal from the 1. They hand it to him, and he pops a linebacker in the hole, knocks him back. Celebrations on.
Yep.
Offense wins the red zone period, forces the defense to run. And then I loved a moment that I hope Darius or Bucky caught on camera, or maybe even just the CU media team. As they're running, you know, the offense is chirping a little bit. And Charlie, I couldn't see who it was because, again, no numbers. Got out and got a real good chirp in on someone. And Shedeur was dying laughing, went up, gave him a huge dap up. So he's working his way up.
He had another nice run. I think he was with the 2s and kind of gets up the middle, breaks a big one. One of the few big plays I saw from the backup offense. which leads me to then another standout for me offensively was the starting O-line, because obviously 2 makes all the difference of the world. Having Shedeur behind center, there's a big drop-off. But I feel like that drop-off isn't just the quarterback, it's the second and third offensive lines, where to me, in the trenches, the defense looked to have the upper hand for most of practice. But I thought the ones on the O-line behaved themselves pretty well, and you have the right side, Jake Wiley, who I believe is a member of the Dungeon family.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And, former fairly highly touted recruit that they were able to get. So he's playing right tackle. Jack Wilty, the Iowa kid, right guard. Then you have Van Wells at center.
Who Van Wells is such a center. You just look at him, you would 100% know he's a center with one look.
And then left guard, of course, our guy Tyler Brown.
Yep.
And big old 6'10" Christian Lichtenhan.
Just call him Tank.
Tank is playing left tackle.
Yep.
And he was the shakiest to me. He's so freaking tall. He just, but
when you put a guy like
it's
JB
easy to get
across,
under his tab.
You put a guy like Jeremiah Brown across from him who has that quick first step, and it's a tough matchup.
Absolutely. But in general, I thought that unit looked really well. Looked good.
Yep.
And that's a unit I would compare their effort against maybe some more highly touted defensive prospects to what the secondary showed us against some more highly touted wide receiver prospects.
Yep. I actually do have a hard out, but not until 4:30, so we're good.
I think the whole show has a hard out at 4:30 because another show must go on. All right.
But there's so much to talk about. Let's talk about.
We've merely scraped the surface.
Let's talk about Shedeur, because
2.
I got more excited seeing him today.
More thumbs up
than I even was last time we saw him. I feel like he's really close in terms of the chemistry with this group of receivers to becoming an unstoppable force. Now, full disclosure, couple misses. And
tried some deep bombs.
Yeah.
Maybe forced it deep on some.
And I think he's trying to get that timing down. That's the point of what you're doing, in these spring practices. He had a miss to Jimmy Horn in the seam, but on the whole, man, he is so poised and he's so comfortable and he's so accurate when he is given the time to do so. Play of the day, in my opinion, is a 3rd and I would call it 11. They had, I think, an incomplete on first, a run for negative yards on second, and he gets 3rd and 11, and pressure just bearing down on him, and he's just trying to buy time for that dig route from Travis Hunter to come across the middle, and that's one of the tough. When you hear about quarterbacks standing in the pocket, so often it's this route, right? Because if you're in man coverage against a dig. It's going to take a second to open up, but you just know it's going to be there. And so he waits and kind of gets back a little bit and just rips one in there to Travis Hunter, who makes the play, moves the chains. And it's just, it was such a great highlight of who those two guys are. And it's funny because right before that play started, I said, man, I can't believe they're going man against Travis out here. Good luck. And, they got burned.
Easy ball placement when you see him compared to the other quarterbacks. It's just everything's on the money. You were comparing him to watching someone throw darts. And then there's a throw from the pocket where he just gets to the sideline so easy, man.
Oh, yeah.
I just think his arm strength is so underrated.
He threw a comeback route from the left hash all the way to the right sideline, which I think some coaches would tell you is a
no-no.
A do not throw. Yeah. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Did it anyway. Completed it easy.
It's because few guys have that arm strength.
I know.
So that's why it's a do not,
Yep. And
not everyone could go oppo,
It's true. You had a good, he hit one deep ball.
Maybe
least.
2, but there was a crowd.
Yeah.
There was a crowd.
It's hard for us to know. We'll call it 2.
Yeah.
But one really big one down the right sideline to Travis Hunter. And it feels like that Travis Hunter. So a couple different ones. The Travis Hunter Shedeur chemistry is dialed.
Yeah.
there was a scramble where Shedeur broke out of the pocket, and Travis Hunter took 3 steps like he was running for the end zone. And somehow he and Shedeur, like, this is a completely unscripted play. For whatever reason, Shedeur just knew he was about to turn around. Travis stops on a dime, turns around, Shedeur hits him on the money. It was just like, man, those two guys have it.
Travis only practiced at wide receiver today.
That's all he's been doing the whole spring. And then I feel like it's coming with Jimmy Horn for sure in terms of the chemistry. And then one more, especially early in practice, I felt like it was really there with Zico. If you have those 3,
Yep.
good luck. Good luck
100%.
stopping those guys. So
Yeah.
I just feel like Shedor's just building just really close with those receivers. When it fully clicks, I just don't know what you're going to be able to do. And I took a note down here. There was a choice route out there. Shedeur calls Travis over after the play, and he's like, "Hey, on that choice route, do this. If he's here, and it was just like, wow."
And early on, you saw Travis got really frustrated down in the red zone. I think they kind of talked about it after that because he was kind of being held on the final play of their sequence, So you're seeing that chemistry building for sure. And Travis, to me, would be my final offensive standout for everything you just said.
Dude, the change of direction is just otherworldly.
It's quite impressive. And yeah, as I said, I thought that secondary looked really good, man.
Yep. We'll get to defense.
Okay.
We'll get to defense. We have 223 likes, which is awesome. Let's get that to 300 and then see where we can go from there.
Yeah, you guys
but we have to remind you of a couple more sponsors because you guys have been so awesome. More people want to sponsor this show.
Let's go.
So thank you to the comments for making that possible for us and all the viewers and all the listeners at home.
Yes.
Shady Rays. Shady Rays season is very much upon us.
Yeah. I've got mine upstairs.
Yep.
It's amazing.
It snowed yesterday, but then it was sunny today.
So great.
Never a bigger time where you need the shades.
So great.
We're also looking for like 70s this weekend, 80s next week. Got to get over to Shady Rays and use the code DNVR. You get 2 for 1. 2 for the price of 1.
It's insane.
Shady Rays, like I've
deal.
said before, if you're like me, just get 2 of your favorite pair because you're going to end up losing or breaking one. But
these are like, they're high quality. They're going to be harder for you to break even. Okay. Enough.
Is that your better go?
That's my,
better go pick up my daughter, or else I get charged $1 a minute.
Hard out alarm. Yeah, but it's okay. We got it covered.
All right.
Yeah, Shady Rays have your eyes covered though as well. Yes,
they absolutely do. And again, use the code DNVR at Shady Rays. 2 for 1. What a deal. Also, Backus and Shanker, if you need to sue, smash that 222-2222. Backus and Shanker, who you got to call if you have been injured and it is not your fault. Backus and Shanker absolutely wins for Colorado families.
Yes.
And you know what? You don't have to pay a single penny to them until they win your case. That is Coach Prime-like confidence.
I was going to say they're not going to – it's like Coach Prime's recruiting. They're not selling you on anything.
Nope.
They're just going to do right by you, and then if you win, we all win. That's the Backus and Shanker way. They're like Coach Prime.
Yeah.
And you know what to do. Smash that too. Like it's the Shedeur line. It's 2-2-2-2-2-2.
I think you missed a couple, but yeah, just press 2 until it starts dialing. All right. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball, who I felt you loved up the defense today.
The offense struggled at times, and I thought it wasn't for offensive demerits. It was how good the defense looked. In some ways, dominant against second and third units, and I thought made some big plays consistently against the first unit. Walk-on safety, Jordan Wolverton made some good plays. Could line up outside, holding his own. I thought maybe even more of a standout was Ben Finiseth.
Yes.
Who covered Zico really nicely, and they were moving him around, and it was just like, they seem so well coached, man. Like they're lined up right. I was telling you, and you were like, "Yeah, Coach Kelly knows what he's doing."
Well, dude, think about this. No Shiloh, no Cormani McLean.
Yep.
And that defense is holding their own.
And Travis is playing on offense.
And Travis is playing on.
Wasn't tilting the field. Tavion Beasley has a nice interception. Former St. John Bosco Jackson State kiddo. And then who was the final one? Harris had a nice play. Simeon Harris, he's 6 foot corner out of California, and he looked good at times.
Yeah. Honestly, some big plays being made. And to me, you mentioned it, coaching. The coaching staff is across the board so star-studded. But, man, it feels like Charles Kelly is making it easy on these guys by just having them lined up correctly.
Just lined up right.
Isn't that crazy? It seems so simple.
It's not, though.
It's really not. And Buffs fans know it as well as anyone. Like, we've seen Kadeem Carey run for 340-something yards way back. But even just last year, you've seen teams just absolutely run over us because guys aren't lined up correctly. And Coach Kelly and his staff are getting these guys in the right position. Coach Prime obviously plays a big role in that as well. Yep. Loved what Nick Williams said today about being impressed with Coach Prime's offensive knowledge, not just his defensive knowledge, which is something I've talked about on this show before too. But, dude, these guys are just in such great positions to make plays. And they keep doing it. And it's really impressive. And the fact that you're talking about walk-ons who are making plays shows you that the coach is putting them in the right position.
Finiseth also walk on?
I believe
he's like
so.
A returning. Yeah, I mean, those things stood out, man. Like they've got size and cover ability, and they can kind of be these hybrid defenders where it's like you could be closer to the line of scrimmage, drop in coverage, and it's nice, man.
But Tavion Beasley had a pick. And you know, several guys were just making plays all over there. That secondary is going to have plenty of talent, especially if/when Travis joins them.
Yeah. Right. Not to mention all the other guys you said. Like there's no Breedlove out there, right? Like
was he? Yeah. So there's
it's coming. It was so hard to tell the front seven standouts, but seemed like Jeremiah Brown was really making a lot of plays.
Mm-hmm.
And Upshaw definitely had the scoop and score. It was hard to tell who was getting a couple pressures up the middle.
So hard.
Yeah.
One of these days, it's going to be a lot easier for us to break these guys down because there's plenty. Let me see if there's anything else I have here. One funny note, and this is how it is a lot of times, but I just love the dynamic here. Coach Prime doubles as the head ref. And so anytime there's a question on whether or not where a ball should be spotted, the whole team just stops and looks at coach, and he'll throw up the 2, second down, 2nd and 1, or it's 4th, whatever. And I just love it. I think it's hilarious. So great. As everything pauses, they're like, and everyone just stops and stares at Coach Prime, and he makes his call of what he decided to do. And there was a big one where he called it 3rd and 1 instead of a first down after kind of a big push from the offensive line to get Charlie Offerdahl forward. And then, of course, the next play is Charlie Offerdahl's big touchdown. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. We talked a little bit about it, but I loved my favorite sequence was 7-on-7. This is offense. Back-to-back touchdowns. 1 to Jimmy Horn, 1 to Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And Travis Hunter is such a weapon in the red zone because he's so hard to stay with.
Yeah, for sure. Final note I have, Carter starts things off as QB2, Drew Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Felt like by the end of the day, Colton Allen was making more of an impression as QB2.
Interesting. I did not.
And you thought...
I think I actually disagree with what you're saying.
There's another quarterback, Ryan Staub.
Yep.
Who stood out to you more than anyone?
Well, no. So I actually think Drew Carter had the best day of the backups.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Allen certainly has a big arm. So he's like, every time I've seen him, he's making a big throw downfield, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think Drew Carter was the best I've seen Drew Carter. And I've been hard on Drew Carter.
He got some good QB2 reps for sure.
But he made absolutely, I'm going to make sure I check myself before I say this. I think he made the throw of the day. With the second offense in the red zone drill. Last rep of the day for him. And he rolls out to his left, pivots those hips, throws a dot to the wide receiver Estes.
Right.
Who toe taps in the side of the end zone and gets a touchdown to essentially even things out because the defense has gotten a stop on the ones. The second team offense gets the touchdown to even things out and give the third team offense a chance to go out there and score that technically like practice winning touchdown. So I still believe they're going to be hot on the trail trying to improve QB2, but I got to give Drew Carter his credit where it's due. I thought he had a nice practice today.
People have some good quarterback talk, you know, so you got to give it to them.
They do. All right, we're going to do some questions talk here in just a second. But again, one more sponsor. Shout out to DraftKings Sportsbook.
DraftKings Sportsbook.
Dre and I love DraftKings Sportsbook as much as anyone. Had a big withdrawal night the other night. Best night is when you get to withdraw your money from DraftKings Sportsbook. Throw it right into the bank account, and it hits immediately.
Yep. Our guy Dev Johnson got me in on a good one last night. Christian Brown over a 3.
Over 0.5 threes.
0.5.
Love that.
Everyone loves a low number.
Everyone loves a low number. That does hit. And again, when you withdraw your money from DraftKings, it hits your account immediately, which is pretty cool. So respect to them for that. You got a pick for us tonight? Anything on your mind? Anything sticking out to you?
Not really, man. Not
Fair
really.
Enough. Fair enough. Get over to DraftKings Sportsbook.
Haven't prepped.
Use the code DNVR when you sign up. Get $200 in free bets when you do so. When you just bet $5 on any money line.
Boom.
Of course, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Ohio, that's not for you. And
correct.
Shout out to our presenting sponsor, Illegal Pete's. You know, you just want
anytime you can throw in an Illegal Pete's.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think Jake's kicking himself more? Not eating Illegal Pete's right now or missing this practice?
Missing this practice.
That guy loves ball.
He loves ball.
He loves ball, dude.
I know he's bummed out that he didn't get to see that today.
I love that so much about him that he's in Hawaii missing a ball.
Yeah, I mean, twerking has consequences.
That's a t-shirt. If I ever heard one, that's a t-shirt right there.
All right, let's see what we got here from the people. Appreciate all of you guys in the comments, and let's see what we got. RK, what was the most impressive thing you saw at practice? What was the reaction among media? Most impressive thing I saw at practice. Honestly, that play that I told you about with Shedeur rolling right.
Yeah.
Travis making the DB thinking he's going for the crib, stopping on a dime, and the ball hitting him in the chest mere milliseconds later.
Yeah, to me, it'd be that sideline throw by Shedeur or the couple Dylan Edwards runs, you know.
Yeah.
Those stood out to me for sure.
Yeah. And the throw to Estes from Drew Carter.
Yeah.
It's a dot.
God, I'd love some numbers and to be a smidge more dialed on the line because I could tell you a few more in-depth plays that came from them, but don't got it at me.
All right. Or the throw with pressure in his face on the dig route to Travis.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From Sean says, just had my custom-made gift for y'all hand-delivered to my office today. Can't wait to give it to you guys.
Incredible.
I am so excited to find out what this is.
Incredible.
Thank you so much, man. I can't wait to see it. All right. Big Teasy with the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Big Teasy.
My only issue, of course, we don't see it every minute. I haven't seen a true leader step up. Have you during open practice? The sense that I get right now is that leadership is amongst groups. You know what I'm saying? I think that Shedeur is doing a fantastic job of especially leading the offense, but more so even the wide receivers. Like he's really leading those skill position guys and telling them where to be and where to go. Like I said, I think Shane Cokes has stepped up as a leader for the defensive line. But I think you might be onto something that no one has essentially taken on the like motivator role. And if I were on this team, I would like Tyler Brown's done a great job of leading the offensive line, I think. But if I were on this team and I was trying to earn Coach Prime's respect, that would be something I would want to do. Cam Silman-Craig, another guy who stood out to me for energy and leadership. But like the guy who's like pops out on the field and it's like yelling at everyone like, come on, boys, turn it up. Like, let's turn up this intensity. That's just like such an easy, and it has to be true within you. Like you got to feel that. And it can't necessarily be manufactured, but that's an easy way to get the coaches on your side.
I'd also say, like, take it all with a grain of salt. These kids right now are simply trying to adjust and learn a new scheme and a new rhythm of practice.
Yeah.
So there's not a much time to be the motivational speaker. You're just trying to get your assignment right at the right time and like keep up with this pace. And I think you are getting some of that from the coaches right now, and it's an outstanding coaching staff.
But the best teams are led internally by their own players. Yeah. And I think, again, Shedeur going to do a great job of that. I think there's plenty of candidates on the defensive side of the ball. But I agree with the commenter that there hasn't been someone yet to make themselves stand out from what we've seen. Remember, two open practices that we've seen start to finish, and of course every well-off video.
Yep.
Haven't yet seen someone say, I want to be the guy for this team.
For sure.
All right, 300 likes. Appreciate you guys so much. Maybe we have time for 350.
Could it be?
From Lamar, what are your thoughts on Caleb Mathis? So Caleb really stood out to me in the first practice we went to. I didn't see quite as much today. Again, really hard without numbers. There's probably a couple times he made a play on the opposite side of the field, and I didn't know it was him. But the speed certainly jumps out for me. He is fast.
He's another long, fast guy. Like that whole receiver room, like just looks so long. I actually did notice Mathis on a couple plays, kind of towards the end of practice, a couple nice grabs. So, but man, I mean, you're fighting for snaps right now at wide receiver, like you really are.
But you're right. The combination of speed and length is a weapon for him. And you can just imagine like back shoulder throws and the fact that he can get his arms way out away from his body.
Oh yeah.
And for a guy that young, who again already has a relationship with Shedeur, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's a contributor at some point in his career, and who knows how soon that could be.
Yeah, who knows? What class is he? Is he freshman? Yeah. Not bad. Yeah.
True freshman.
Yeah.
All right. Sport Geek. Did you see recruits there? We did see one recruit there. A big guy.
Big guy, yes.
So
that's all we can say?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
I was O lineman. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what restrictions you have.
I think we could. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, we were trying to figure it out.
And for those, I saw some people commenting like, "I hope you guys give us the depth chart." We can't really do that. Now you can gather things from us talking about things happening and when they happen.
You need a few more practices and a few more numbers before you get depth charted up.
We're just not allowed to. Like, we can't sit here and say, okay, so-and-so is this position, this position, this position, this position.
We did tell you
you
the
can
starting
gather things.
line. We told you
can gather
RB1.
things.
We told you what the competition at
Don't
QB2 is
us.
looking like. You listen, you tune in. You might catch some good tidbits here.
All we're doing is talking about what happened.
Bro, we're just talking ball over here.
All right, a couple more.
Yeah.
Let's go. Big Teasy said, "How do the backup quarterbacks look?"
Oh, we gave you the full breakdown.
How about the O and D line? Yeah, I mean, backup quarterbacks certainly better.
D-line won the day, man. D-line looked really good, explosive, physical. Actually, a little too. You gotta get your hands off the quarterback. There were a few quarterback gets knocked down on pressure where they'll in an NFL practice, that's probably a scuff up.
Please tell me that Shedeur did not end up on the ground.
Shedeur did not, but the backups got roughed up, man. I wasn't a fan of that.
If the back of his jersey hits the turf, we've got problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Even you'll jump in.
I might have to.
Yeah, he's true buff through and through.
Next one from the H family. How is Shedeur's chemistry with who? Oh, Montana Lamonius Craig. I've never heard him called that.
He had a couple.
It's a work in progress,
right? Yeah,
it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm interested to see how that develops because it's clear that Shedeur likes him. He's out there in Miami with Shedeur
Right.
and J5.
Right.
But it's kind of like what I said. I just feel like they're maybe I bet you by the spring game that chemistry is dialed, and they're able to put on a show.
They're working, man. It's all work in progress.
Any update on Trevor Woods? Not necessarily.
None.
I know he's good at football. That's my update. And then last one here from Sloan. Dre, more importantly, how many pairs of Vans do you own? I'm at 30 pairs myself.
I think you have me beat. I'm probably in the high teens, low 20s.
Are you a strictly Vans guy?
Kinda. Yeah, kind of.
I'm pretty much a strictly Nike guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I do have Vans. Like I don't see Vans as a competitor to Nike.
Total.
But I'm brand loyal to a fault. I think I'm just loyal to all things that I like.
It's more like, there's a loyalty, convenience. It's just like, I know my size. I know the fit.
Yeah, for me, it's just like, I don't
Got
know.
a wide ass foot.
I feel like
know?
I'm on some sort of team. I don't know why, but I could see an Adidas shoe that I thought was fire, and I would feel like I shouldn't buy it.
My feet are the Van Wells of feet. It's a real center build, so
I thought
Vans
you were
just
calling
fit
them
me well.
Your shoe, you can just call your feet Vans Wells.
Oh, that. NIL collab. Get us the CU Center and Vans all in one room. Magic is coming out of that.
There we go. Okay. Southside said all the Montana slander is crazy to me. Have you watched this tape? I don't know. Maybe that's coming in the comments. It's not coming from me. He's a good wide receiver, and I think he's going to contribute for this team for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. What else we got? Anything?
That's it, man.
All right. That was a lot.
It's a lot to get through.
It's an absolute pleasure to be able to go and watch football on a Wednesday morning, actually,
Was
in
pretty epic.
April.
That was pretty epic.
I got to give a thank you to Coach Prime and the whole media staff up there for letting us in a couple times here. It's certainly a privilege, and it's so much fun to be able to come back here and talk about it with you guys. So appreciate you all for tuning in so much. Dre, appreciate you for making it up to Boulder today and watching practice with me.
Yep.
And we will catch you tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.